Hey guys, hope you guys had a great week. I wanted to actually go back and draw Ezio Auditore. I'm a big fan of the series, and since I drew Connor, I felt like I had to draw Ezio because he is OG. I'm getting a little darker with the drawing, but you see that I don't have all the details in. That's because I'm going to shape it in with my markers. So I start by filling in the background. I wanted to give it some texture, so I created a vertical pattern. Also, I wanted to create a gradient that goes from left to right following the light source. I start with his right hand because it's the farthest thing away from the viewer, and it blends in with the background pretty well, but still pops out because of the details surrounding it. I then move on to his hood, and I'm working on creating a core shadow to show that it has some shape. I'm also going to leave the edges alone and just darken the stitch lines. I then fill in the beak and move on to his face. One thing that's convenient about drawing Ezio and Connor is that most of their face is covered by the shadow. But the thing I've been running into is just placing the details in this scale. It's quite challenging because there's no real room to mess around in terms of space. So I'm just going back and forth trying to make the hood pop a little before I move on to anything else. I'm going to skip the collar area and work on his left arm because I don't want to work on the texture right away. I want to have some space so I can create a relatively soft edge. I decided to darken the background just a little bit because his arm wasn't popping out of the page as much as I wanted to. I go back and working on his pit area, and once that's done, I move on to his fur texture. I'm just slowly building it up and trying to create the dimension of layers and also trying to create a soft edge. Once that's done, I move on to his forearm, and I'm actually going to fill the whole thing in and come back to do the highlights with some white gouache. The white prism wasn't working too well with the value that I have, so yeah. I work on the straps around his core area, and it can be a little busy because of the overlapping, but it's nice because it leads the eye downward. So I'm filling in the straps and trying to visually break them up from one another just so that you can see the overlapping. I then move on to working on his lower area. I have the same mindset here where I visually want to separate one surface from another. I also wanted to create a dark shadow that's being covered by his cape. And I wanted the cape to have some gradient without going too dark. So I decided to darken the background just a little bit. Once I'm done with that side, I work on the rest of his lower body, finishing the rest of his details. I'm just trying to finish this area before I move on to his hand. And honestly, I don't know why I drew his hand last. It might actually be because I knew that this was the closest thing to the viewer. So after I go over the whole drawing, I come back and add the white highlights with my white gouache. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and I'll be uploading another one soon. So until then, take care.